me know what you think down in the comments. You agree, disagree with my list? Because we might be doing Survivor mains next week. I don't know. That's my bad. So what we got here is what your Survivor main says about you. And similar to the last video we did what your killer main says about you, we're doing it in tier list format. But as you can see, we expanded it a little more than how we did last time, because with survivors, there's a lot more of you. That also might be the killer main in me noticing more of you as well. As killer, you can really study the stereotypes survivors can carry about them. So we added quite a bit more tiers to really spread everybody out, because no two survivors are the same. Before I break down what the tiers mean, this is all my opinion, obviously. This is all in good fun. It's a giant game. Everybody's experiences towards survivors are going to be different. If I make fun of your main, don't take it personally. I'm sure you're the exception. But I'm going to be ranking the survivors as both a killer player and a survivor player, kind of taking both things into account. So starting us off at the top of the tier list, we have Juicers. These are the best of the best. Kills it and chase, a great teammate, just overall great at the game. Next, we got Satan Spawn. They are generally good at the game, but they'll kind of be an ass about it. These players typically carry an ego and like to show the world, whether it be the killer or their teammates, look how good I am at the game. Whether that be BMing the killer or just kind of being a nuisance to your other teammates. And even sometimes not helping or deliberately hindering your teammates. Lucky survivor, overall good. Not the best by any means, but they're just kind of a confident survivor you would like to have in a match with you. 50-50. I'm sure this speaks for itself, but you don't know what you're getting. You could be getting a cracked survivor, you could be getting the worst survivor. You never know what you're gonna get. Painfully average also speaks for itself. You have no strong suits. You have a general understanding of the game. You just don't really excel at anything. Dumb. Just dumb. No thoughts going on in that head. You're here to have a good time, but you're just kind of dumb. Just bad. Overall bad at the game, and not even necessarily in a charming way like the dumb people are. You're just bad. Toxic. You are bad at the game while also being a toxic player as well to either killer or your teammates. You never accept responsibility. You have an ego and nothing to show for it. And you will never grow as a player. Who? This is the sad tier, because unfortunately there are a lot of survivors where nobody really plays them. And so unfortunately, we can't really base judgment off of them, so they're going to unfortunately go in the who category. So I think that covers it. No more babbling on my end. Let's hop into it. Dwight, starting us off with a bang. You want to talk 50-50? It doesn't get more 50-50 with Dwight mains. Now, I'm sure that's mainly because he's the default character. He's the first thing you get, the first thing you see. I know you have 4 survivors at the start, but your eyes kind of go to Dwight because he is right there, front and center. So Dwight players have a lot of veteran players, but there's also a bunch of newbies with them. Moving on with Meg, and kind of similar to Dwight, similar with a lot of these just introductory survivors, you never really know what you're going to get. Now, there are a lot of cracked Megs out there. A lot. And I even would argue a lot of Megs are Satan Spawn. I really think they are. But taking in the majority of Megs, I know it's the easy answer, but I truly think it's just another 50-50 survivor. The 50-50 kind of being toxic and Satan Spawn. I would say that's kind of the in-between we're getting there. The good people that know they're good and they're gonna make a big deal about it. And then just the not-so-good toxic players. Claudette. So, hear me out. Claudette's going to be the first person I throw in toxic, okay? Maybe bordering painfully average. I don't think they're quite dumb. Claudettes are the type of survivors that play poorly the entire match, but I guarantee they're the first person to be teabagging at an exit gate. They're the person that's gonna ditch you so that they can get hatched, because even though they didn't work on a gen, the reason we are escaping this trial is all because of her. Jake. Jake. So Jake Jake doesn't overall stick out in my head, but every time I've had a Jake, he's kind of been a good teammate. So I think he's the first person I'm gonna throw in Lucky Survivor. A lot of the Jakes I play with, they're not bad, but they're also not like the kind of person out there making the cracked plays. They're just overall playing your good classic game of Dead by Daylight. And for that, I think he's a Lucky Survivor. Somebody solid that will be there and get the job done. Nia, Satan's spawn, and you all already know it. You all know that you're good at the game. You're going to make a big deal that you're good at the game to both your Survivor teammates and to the killer. And I know this is the Nia stereotype, but you all aren't doing yourselves any favors. Laurie, y'all kinda dumb. You all kinda have a heart of gold. You're going around, you're trying to find gens, you're trying to do the objective, you're trying to help out where you can, but I don't think you know what's going on most of the time. And for that, y'all fall in the dumb category for me. Aces are the type of players, they will absolutely throw the game, but man, will they be having a good time while doing it. So it's kinda up to you where you would throw Ace, because here's the thing, Ace's shenanigans, they'll succeed sometimes. So it's kind of up for debate about where you want to put Ace here. He's not in Juicers, he's not Satan Spawn. I would be arguing Lucky Survivor 50-50 or Painfully Average. I don't think they're painfully average. It's Lucky Survivor or 50-50. Maybe 50-50 because you don't know if his antics are going to pay off or not. I'm going to go with that logic. But my gut's telling me, okay. 50-50, I'm gonna put him in front of Dwight here. I'm not really doing a ranking of like who's farther on the tier list or other, but he's 50-50 bordering Lucky Survivor. I'm really torn between the two. This might change later. Bill, oh, absolute sweethearts. Absolute sweethearts. I'll tell you what, when I am on hook, if there is a Bill in the game, Bill is the first person to drop what he's doing and saying, how can I get this survivor off the hook safely? But even though they have a heart of gold, there's nothing really going on in that head of theirs, is there? They're just kinda dumb, but we love them. Is there anybody out there who hates Bill players? They're trying their best. Don't be so hard on them. Feng Min. They're kind of similar to Claudette players, but here's the thing. The Fengs I play with are typically good at the game. Fengs will be the first person to also BM at the exit gate to the killer, not accept responsibility, but damn it, do they actually play kinda well? I think I'm gonna throw them up in Satan's Spawn next to Nia. Not quite on the same tier as Nia. Nia's on a tier of her own. But Fengs, ooh, they're little assholes. They can be little assholes. But the Fengs that are cracked at the game, ooh, they know it and they got an ego. David King. I don't know. David's actually going to be my first painfully average, and let me tell you why. A lot of the Davids I come across, they have a general understanding of the game. They've been playing for quite some time, and they're doing everything mostly correct. They're just not really great. They just haven't really mastered anything. In my games, at least, they're never bad teammates. They just, like I said, they don't excel. Quentin, bless his heart. Everybody, he's our first who's Quentin? Where does he go? If I had to describe Quentin's though, strictly as a killer main, because as Survivor, like I said, I never come across Quentin's. But I've seen Quentin's as a killer. They're kind of easy to kill. It's just kind of, Quentin's are really easy to kill, I have found for the most part. So you mostly fall in who, but if I had to throw you somewhere, it would probably be in dumb. Tapp. I'd consider Tapp a Lucky Survivor. I also don't come across a lot of Tapps, but Tapp is not quite in like the who category. I definitely come across more Tapps than I do Quentin's, and all of them have just been solid, good teammates. Not juicers by any means. They've never stuck out as like, oh my gosh, look how crazy that Tapp is playing, but just, they're good. Kate. Y'all are dumb. Y'all are dumb, but what's great about Kate players is they know they're dumb. They know they're dumb players, so there's not really much to talk about. They're not gonna fight back against it. At least I hope they're not gonna fight back against it. Adam. Adam is the glue that holds a team together. Adam is always the one to kind of drop what they're doing, inspect the situation, and say like, what is the next best move? However, I'm struggling, even though I'm praising them, I don't think they're juicers. Juicers is gonna be a very elite category, but they're good. They're great. I love having them. Lucky survivor. Lucky survivor. Juicers is gonna be some elite category. I'm excited to see who goes there. Jeff, y'all dumb. Y'all dumb. And similar to Kate, you know you're dumb. You're going to purposefully go about your day doing dumb antics that'll get you dumb rewards. But damn it, y'all are here to have a good time and it shows. Jane. Jane's the type of player that'll throw a game and then message me that it's my fault. Janes are mean. I find Janes to be mean people. But I don't think they're quite up here in this Satan spawn thing. I think they're mean, but they don't have anything to show for it. Ash. Y'all just like it because it's Bruce Campbell. Let's be real. Y'all are dumb. Y'all are dumb. Y'all are big dumb energy. Nancy. Okay. This was Ghostface's first DBD opinion about a survivor, so we have a lot to say about Nancy's here on this channel. I don't think they're toxic. I'm gonna throw them in painfully average, because Nancy, here's the thing. They think they're better at the game than they actually are. But I generally don't find them being toxic about it, nor do they really necessarily carry an ego about themselves. They're the type of teammates to come up and like do the like wave, like come here and point. They're trying to come in, take charge and give orders, but they're not good. So it's like, why am I going to listen to you when you're lasting 10 seconds in a chase? They're the type of person, I figured it out. They're the type of person that wants to take charge in a team class project that you would do in high school. You got like 4 people that partnered up all together. She's the one that wants to take charge, but then all of her ideas are bad, and she's just not good at the assignment. But since she's the only one kind of taking charge and is getting angry at people when they don't listen to them, painfully average, bordering toxic. Painfully average though. Steves. Oh man. Steves are the type of players that will absolutely throw the game due to being too much of a team player. They're kind of in positions they shouldn't be in, whether they're staying on a Jin too long, healing somebody where they really shouldn't be healing them, just overall making questionable decisions, going for an unhook while the killer's there, but they're like, I'll take a hit, and then they don't succeed in taking a hit. They have the right intentions, but man, are they bad? They're just bad. There's not really the like heart of gold thing. They do have a heart of gold. I find Steve players, their heart's in the right place, but man, they're just kind of bad. Jonathan Byers. Oh, you know he's a who. You know he's a who, but since he's a cosmetic for Steve, we're going to consider that Jonathan's also carry all of the traits of Steve's and are just kind of bad. Yui. Ooh, okay, hear me out. Yui's enter a trial with the sole intention of making the killer's life a nightmare, but I typically don't find they're toxic about it. Now, I guess your definition of toxic can vary. They're not BMing, they're being a good teammate. You know what? I was sitting here for like 30 seconds thinking about it. I think Yui is our first juicers. They're not quite Satan spawn. I don't really think they're the most toxic of the bunch, but I wouldn't put them in Lucky Survivor either, because I think they're more than that. So I think they're our first juicers. I think Yui players are some of the best of the best. Zarina. Zarinas are stereotypical good players, following all the rules. I need to be on this Jin at this time. It is my turn to take a chase at this time. I need to save this teammate at this time. Y'all have a checklist. You know how to play the perfect clean game of Dead by Daylight. So I'm gonna put you all in Lucky Survivors. I don't think you are quite to the tier of like you are masters at your craft, but you're just overall good at the game. You're in the right place at the right time. Cheryl. Maybe a hot take, Cheryl's a menace. They won't do anything toxic, but they will absolutely go out of their way to screw over the killer. And they won't make it obvious. You won't even know it was the Cheryl that did this. Cheryls are pulling like master of puppets shit. They got all of us on a string. They're calculating the entire trial. The killer's exactly where they want them to be, and then from the shadows, Cheryls arrive and pull off the play of the century. You know, just after talking about Cheryls that way, how could I not put them in juicers? I feel like Cheryls are juicers. Now, you could argue Satan spawn if you don't think they're quite juicers. I'm sticking with juicers. Cybil. I never see one. I never see a Cybil. I don't even have jokes to make about y'all. Do y'all exist? James. You know, running purely on good vibes. Not necessarily here to win or lose. I feel like all James players just accidentally turned on Dead by Daylight and they're suddenly here and they're like, oh, I guess I need to play the game now. So I'm gonna throw them in painfully average. I don't think they're dumb, but nor do I think they're necessarily a good survivor to have. Lisa. Now, realistically, y'all can't fool me. Y'all are Cheryls in disguises. But I don't see as many of you, so I can't really make that assumption. You know what? Cheryl and Lisa are two sides of the same coin, actually, and to kind of restore balance to things, I'm actually throwing y'all in Satan's spawn, and I am standing by it. Y'all are just menaces. Maria, I legit cannot think of the last time I saw Maria. It has been ages. Felix. Y'all like him because he's hot. Y'all like him because he's hot. And with the type of people who play characters because they're hot, they typically tend to be kind of dumb too. I don't make the rules. Yeah, just overall, Felixes are just kind of dumb. They're here to have a good time, but just dumb. Élodie. Why does every Élodie I come across act like it's their first game ever? Y'all are just bad. I just bet you're not toxic about it by any means, but y'all just kind of bad. Also, who's buying the twins chapter? Before any of you come after me in the comments, yes, I know you can buy the Survivor in the store, okay? Let me make this joke, okay? Let me have fun. Yun-Jin, Satan's spawn. They're little monsters. They will either throw the game or be the best dang looper you have ever seen. And if they go down, she will do everything in her power to make sure her teammates go down with her. So I'm not gonna throw them down in toxic because I generally find Yun-Jins, like when they play and they're not getting upset, they're not throwing, they're typically good players. So I'm gonna put them in Satan's spawn. Jill. Hot take coming in. And again, no one take these personally, but Jill's victim complex. I am constantly hearing Jill say they get tunneled out of the game every time there's a Resident Evil killer, and I just know that's not true. Every game? I'm starting to think Jills don't know what tunneled means. So you know, I'm just starting to hear excuses. So Jills, you're going in just bad. Just bad. Claire Redfield, similar to Jill. Y'all are just bad. But not even in the way where I have a joke about y'all. There's nothing even funny about the way you play. You're just bad. Sheva. Shevas are interesting. Shevas, I think, are a solid 50-50. I never really know what I'm gonna get with y'all. I have seen some really cracked Shevas, and I've also seen people who clearly got it because it was Resident Evil. Leons, aww, they try their best. But they're dumb. Leons are constantly making the worst decisions possible, but they're just running around having a good time. They don't even know they just made the worst play of the century. They're just going strictly on vibes. No thoughts in that head. Extremely empty. Chris. Chris, in my opinion, is another textbook survivor, kind of similar to how I described Adam and Zarina. They're just gonna come into the trial, and they're going to play that perfect game of Dead by Daylight. Just classic, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is the best way to do it. Not taking any risks. Carlos. I'm gonna throw Carlos in painfully average, because I don't think it's quite 50-50 what I'm about to describe, but Carlos's will deliberately go out of their way to try to make a play happen that usually inevitably won't happen. They want to play the hero. Carlos's really want to play the hero in a match, making that game-winning save. They're just constantly in stupid places and winning stupid prizes, all for that sweet, sweet victory. Mikaela. Okay, Mikaela, the worst teammates to have. Absolutely dreadful if you have a Mikaela on your team as Survivor. But as a killer? She's an absolute nightmare. And you're like, DVD opinions, that doesn't make any sense. How can they be a bad teammate, but also a nuisance to the killer? I don't know, but they find a way. So I can't really put them in lucky Survivor, but they're Satan spawn. Mikaelas are Satan spawn. Jonah, ooh. Painfully average. There is nothing special about Jonah players. It's just like, yeah, here's another Jonah. Maybe they won't go down as quick as they did last time. Maybe Jonah will get a couple gens popped. Who's to say? Jonah is just, he's gonna be around. Let's hope for the best. Yoichi, aw, this breaks my heart. But it's just who... I can't think of the last time I've seen one. Do y'all exist? I know I sound like a broken record, but like, somebody speak to me. Give him some love. Haddie. You know, I'm trying to think of something clever to say, but I have just found them to be bad teammates. Not toxic by any means, but just, man, are they just not good? Ada. Now, I might be reading into it way too hard, but Ada's, I think they take the secret spy persona a little too literally. They will be in the worst spots imaginable trying to sneak around in hopes that they can get a clip for their imaginary montage. So for Ada's, here's the thing, I'm thinking, I've had some really good Ada teammates though. I was just about to put them in 50-50. But then I was starting to think Lucky Survivor, they're nowhere down here. I'm sticking with my gut. I think Ada's are 50-50s. Because when they play the game, they're good. I just constantly think they're trying to do these really risky plays for no reason. And just a lot better than Carlos players, who I also compared to just doing really risky plays. But I found Ada's are mostly better than Carlos's, so I'm going to put them in 50-50. Rebecca. Now, again, I might be reading too much into it, but similar to how Ada's like taking the spy thing too seriously, I find Rebecca's take the altruistic side of her way too seriously. They are just very altruistic, and I mean, it's fitting. Are y'all just role-playing? Are a bunch of Resident Evil fans just coming over to Dead by Daylight to role-play with each other? However, more so than Ada, I do think Rebecca's are lucky survivors. When I'm playing Survivor, I have just found myself counting on a Rebecca more than I would count on an Ada. Vittorio. Y'all like him cause he's hot. But I don't think they're quite dumb. For once, I don't think it's the look at the attractive guy. I find Vittorio's actually get the job done. So I'm gonna put him in lucky survivor. Thalita, oh. A little better than Jonah, but painfully average. I think y'all are more happy to be here than Jonah players are, but you still don't excel at anything. You're not bad, just average. Renato, okay. I don't know if this is controversial or not. I haven't talked about this to anybody else. Where did you all come from? I swear, you all just poof, appeared overnight and then absolutely just started juicing the hell out of everybody. Did you all switch from another, like, where did you all come from? I've been scared of Renato's recently. They enter my trials and just absolutely juice the hell out of me when I'm playing killer. And as Survivor, just overall a teammate I can count on. Oh, the Rainbow Six skin. I'm gonna get the name wrong. It's Tubarão? Tubarão, forgive me. I mean, realistically, there's not enough data. They're brand new. I don't know how they're gonna perform in a game. Gabriel, oh, heart of gold, but probably won't get the job done. Y'all are just kinda dumb. Nick Cage, okay. So this is kind of a weird one, because when Nick Cage came out, everybody was dicking around on Nick Cage, constantly doing stupid plays to try to win big prizes. because his perks are hilarious, and you can get some weird but helpful value from a lot of the perks. So I'm trying to think solely the Nick Cages that have stuck by him and have kept playing Nick Cage. Y'all just kind of kept the joke going. I find a lot of Nick Cages still run those same goofy perks. I think y'all are better than painfully average, but I can't put you all up here, so I'm gonna put you all in dumb. I think you all are typically good players, and you'll pull off a lot of the shenanigans you're trying to pull, but you all are just kind of dumb while you're at it. Ellen, oof. Just another painfully average, and again, a lot of it comes down to I don't see a lot of Ellens. They're not quite enough where I would throw them in who. I do see enough Ellens, but nothing has ever stuck out to me about an Ellen Ripley player. Oh my goodness. I didn't even do like a build-up or anything. That's it. We're done. I completely lost track of what survivors we did or didn't do. Yep. A lot of people aren't gonna like this. But what's interesting about like this kind of tier list for survivors is, everybody's tier list of survivors is gonna be different. Because when you enter a survivor game, you're going to get 4 of them for the match to start. So you get to come across a lot more survivors than you do the one killer you face every single match. So that's why I spread out this tier list, gave it a lot more categories. Well, that's a wrap. I'm scared to say this, but if you haven't checked out what your killer main says about you, you can click to watch it. A lot of people didn't like what I had to say. And probably a lot of people aren't gonna like where I put their survivors in this video too. These videos are just dangerous territory. But I keep doing this to myself.